The day my husband reached the pinnacle of success, an unruly little assistant appeared at his side. She was greedy for luxury, always scheming to sleep her way into the role of Mrs. CEO. At first, when Jason mentioned her to me, his eyes were filled with scornful ridicule, but later, drunk, he wrapped his arms around that assistant and choked out, "I know you're second-rate, stupid, and frivolous. But damn it, I love you." The phone rang while Jason and I were kissing. He clicked his tongue in irritation, snatched up the phone, and glanced at the screen. Then I clearly saw a subtle shift in his expression. "Who is it?" My heart skipped. I had to ask. Jason hung up without hesitation. "Nothing important, Jamie." I swallowed my unease and kept kissing him, yet I could feel, unmistakably, that his mind had already wandered. He pecked me perfunctorily, then suddenly swore under his breath, frowned, and reached for the phone again. This time I heard the message alert. Whatever the other person sent, Jason's face changed. He stood up at once and shrugged back into his tailored blazer. Then he bent to brush my forehead. "Babe, something came up at Sterling Tech." He promised, "I'll go handle it and be right back." My heart lurched. Instinctively I caught his sleeve. My voice almost begged. "Jason, can you not go?" Jason's brows drew together as he peeled my fingers away, one by one. "Babe, be good. Don't make a scene." His tone was so harsh it felt foreign. When the door slammed, I was still staring into space. I already knew who had texted, but I refused to admit it. So when my Twitter notification chimed, I hesitated for ages before unlocking the screen. Then my heart plummeted into an abyss. The pain was suffocating. At Lily Raid, while walking home alone is scary. Guess I'll just make the CEO come pick me up. I wonder if his babe will be mad, hee. The tweet featured a DM screenshot. The man had answered with a single word, "Wait." A dozen replies squealed so sweet, icy king, Sundara accomplished, a CEO in the bag. But the avatar was the photo of Jason's hand clasping mine, our wedding rings in clear view. I blinked my dry eyes and slowly set the phone down. Lily, Jason's personal assistant. The first time I heard the name was from Jason himself. He'd tossed a coffee-stained shirt, lipstick marks on the collar, into the trash, disgusted. The new assistant's an idiot who thinks a pretty face is an elevator to the top. Using such cheap tricks, she could at least be original. He sounded mocking, brows arched in open contempt. I told him to fire her or move her to another department. Jason only shrugged. "Let's keep the clown around for entertainment." Yet his attitude slowly shifted. He still sneered that Lily had no self-respect, but his gaze kept drifting toward her. When she deliberately tore her collar to flash skin, he would look away in disgust, then yank off his own tailored blazer and fling it over her shoulders the moment anyone else noticed. Back home he'd explain coolly, "She's my personal assistant, I can't let her humiliate the company." He'd hug me, gentle and reassuring. "Babe, my heart hasn't changed. No one else exists for me, especially not some trash who can't even make it to the table." "Jamie," I crushed the prickling dread and forced it down. I kept repeating, "Jason has loved me for 10 years. From high school to college to now, we've been the golden couple everyone envies. How could Jason stop loving me?" I chose to trust him, until I stumbled on Lily's private Twitter alt. Every post was about Jason. Low cut today. CEO said it looked cheap, but his eyes told another story, wink. "This dog man is impossible, won't let me wear this, won't let me wear that." Scratched the watch his babe gave him. He scolded me in the morning, Venmo transfer in the afternoon. Haha, even his apology is domineering. Pretended to be weak and sat on his lap. He was poking me. Still told me to get off. Tisk tisk, smug. Asked who's prettier, me or his babe. He said babe first. I fake cried. He sighed and said I look better. I read, from the mistress's vantage point, the entire story of my husband's slow slide into infatuation. My heart sank ounce by ounce, until I felt locked in ice. At 2 a.m. Jason texted, "Babe, go to bed. Don't wait up. Busy at Sterling Tech tonight. Won't be home." I reread those lines again and again before the meaning finally seeped in. I didn't reply. I only opened the window and stared into the dark. Does Jason still love me? I suppose not. But why? I couldn't puzzle it out, Jamie, and I didn't sleep all night. At dawn the front door opened. Jason wore yesterday's clothes. Striding in, he asked with the same affectionate lilt as ever, "Babe, where's the shirt I wore the day before? I have to change and rush back to the office." He came up behind me, circling my waist. "Days like this are killing your husband." My face stayed blank. Only after he let go did I turn, reach out, and yank his collar open. Jason stiffened, reflexively shielding himself. But the fierce red welt on his chest was already burned into my eyes. "Does lying to me feel good, Jason?" I asked quietly. His expression flickered. Finally he said, "Babe, I turned her down. You're the only one I love." His voice soothed me, or maybe himself. "Fine." I curved my lips and met his gaze. "Then fire her. You know exactly who I mean." Jason pressed his mouth into a hard line and said nothing. Sometimes silence is its own answer. Eyes stinging, I shoved him away and walked back into the bedroom. Jason and I have loved each other 10 years. In all that time I've been his life outside work. He swore he'd give me the best of everything, killing himself to build sterling tech. I know most men would shrug this off. If I complained, crowds would tell me to be tolerant. But what, then, did his promise to love only me amount to? A bitter smile tugged at my mouth, bitterness flooding every vein. The next evening there was still the IPO celebration dinner to attend, and I held an equity stake in Sterling Tech. Whatever else happened, I had to show up. Yet the moment I stepped out of the car I spotted Lily, who had arrived early. She wore a plunging gown, and when she saw me a flash of jealousy and resentment sparked in her eyes. Jason walked past her as if she didn't exist, his face blank, slipping an arm around my waist. He seemed to think this party could somehow make things up to me. "Serena, I've already transferred her off my floor," he murmured. "Now you can stop worrying, right? Transferred, not fired." I curved my lips in a smile, but my eyes stayed empty. Ordinary employees were confined to the outer hall. At that moment Lily was chatting up one of the senior VPs. She really was stunning. Whatever she said made her cover her scarlet lips and laugh, soft and flirtatious. Then the executive slid his hand to her waist and stroked it openly. Instead of stepping away, Lily glanced at Jason in open challenge. She leaned closer to the man's ear and whispered something, and the heat between them turned palpable. Jason looked once, then looked away, his expression unreadable. He lifted a glass of red from a passing tray and offered it to me. "Babe, your birthday's in a few days. I'll clear my schedule so we can spend them together." I stared at the blue veins bulging across the back of his hand, the way he was barely holding himself in check, and nausea rose in my throat. "Don't bother." I left the glass untouched, my voice shaking, brows knitted. Jason didn't notice my distress, he simply drank the wine himself. His gaze kept drifting toward the outer hall. After that, every colleague who came to toast him found him willing, no, eager, to drain his glass. I had lived with Jason for 10 years, I knew him better than anyone. He was venting his frustration, and he probably didn't even realize how blatant his possessiveness toward Lily had become. "Babe, I need the restroom," he said. He reeked of alcohol, yet he waved off every offered arm. I watched his back until the banquet was almost over. He never came back. A thin thread of dread tightened inside me. It turned solid when I scanned the outer hall and realized Lily was gone too. Maybe I simply couldn't accept defeat. Maybe I needed to see it with my own eyes. When I found Jason pinning Lily against the corridor wall, kissing her like a man starving, I knew I should have stayed away. Neither of them noticed me. When the long kiss broke, Lily's lips were swollen, her breath ragged. "Who are you to tell me who I can flirt with? Yeah, I'm easy, so what?" she snapped, pushing at his chest. Blue veins throbbed at Jason's temples, as if something inside him had finally snapped. His voice came hoarse and raw. "Lily, I know exactly what you are, cheap, shallow, but damn it, I love you." The words echoed down the corridor, that single love ricocheting inside my skull. For a moment I thought I heard the bright, unwavering vow of the boy he used to be. "Serena, whether you believe it or not, you're the only one I'll ever love." I had believed him once. Tonight Jason shattered that memory himself. I stumbled backward 2 steps, the click of my heels gave me away. Jason saw me, all color draining from his face. He shoved Lily aside and strode toward me. "Babe, it's not what you think." He grabbed my wrists, trying to wrap me in his arms. "Get away from me, both of you, just go." I wrenched free, screaming, tears flooding my eyes. "Jason, I never once betrayed you. Why are you hell-bent on humiliating me?" My voice cracked, lips trembling. Jason looked even paler than I felt, his mouth opening and closing, but all he could repeat was, "Serena, no, it isn't like that." Then Lily's ragged gasp rose behind him. "Jason, I feel awful. I think someone slipped something in my drink." Jason froze, instinct starting to turn him around, yet his gaze stayed locked on me in tormented indecision. "Jason, please, it's burning through me," Lily whimpered, so feverish she ripped her neckline open. Jason's fists clenched, then he spun around and scooped her up in 2 strides. throwing his tuxedo jacket over her shoulders. "Serena, I'll explain everything when we get home. Right now, Lily needs me more." Lily twined her arms around his neck and shot me a triumphant smirk over his shoulder. A cold laugh escaped me as I scrubbed the tears from my eyes. I turned and fled, stumbling, heels skittering across marble. I knew, with crystalline certainty, that this marriage ended here. Back in high school I'd warned him, "If you ever betray me, I will never forgive you." Jason had grinned, bright-eyed, and answered, "Deal, because I'll never betray you." Tonight he trampled that promise, and my pride, into dust. He didn't come home. He texted to say he'd driven Lily to Riverdale and attached a hospital photo as proof. He clearly hadn't seen Lily's new Twitter thread. At Lily Quinn Guide. Got dosed by some pig, but CEO turned out to be the antidote. Car shake included. At Lily Quinn Guide. On the ride he played coy, my babe found out, I must keep my distance. Pfft. A couple of nips at his throat and he lost control, ravishing me right there in the back seat. At Lily Quinn Guide. Asked who tasted better, me or his ice queen babe. He said she's too stuck up, nowhere near as dirty hot as me. Damn, the man's got skills, total win. LOL. My hand shook so badly I could barely power my phone off. My stomach felt scalded. I dropped to my knees over the toilet and vomited until nothing was left. Finally I dragged air into my lungs and dialed my attorney, voice thin but steely. "Hello, please draft a divorce petition. I'm not fighting over Jason, but I intend to leave with every dollar that belongs to me." I simply notified my parents about the divorce. Jason's parents got the same heads up. I didn't add a single word, just forwarded Lily's Twitter post to all four of them. My mom and dad answered instantly, full support, white-hot fury. Jason's parents scolded him first, then wavered. "Serena, you're a good girl. What Jason did is inexcusable, but men slip, it happens. He cherished you for 10 whole years, throwing that away now feels ungrateful, don't you think?" The corner of my mouth curled in contempt and I killed the call. I refuse to wrestle words with elders, but I won't obey them either. I'd told my lawyer to meet at the cafe around the corner. I gave myself a quick once-over before I walked in, and found someone I never expected. "What are you doing here? Career change?" The man at the table wore a charcoal-tailored blazer, pale skin, razor-sharp cheekbones, gold-rimmed spectacles, every inch the gentleman. Yet I still remember the first time I saw Julian, stone-faced, slinging cocktails in a dive bar. Julian adjusted his glasses and smiled. "Did I forget to mention I majored in law?" Too many years had blurred the details. I said nothing. "When I saw the client was you, I swiped the file from my colleague." He slid the neatly stapled divorce petition across the table. "On the house, call it repayment for the 100 grand loan you once floated me." I skimmed the papers, confirmed every clause, and thanked him. Then I couriered the packet straight to Jason's room at Riverdale. I couldn't stand the thought of seeing his face. One glimpse of him tangled with another woman and my stomach flips. My love for Jason is dead, but a decade doesn't snap in half overnight. Julian noticed the color had drained from my cheeks. He rose and asked politely, "Drink next door to decompress?" I paused mid-step. "You still work 2 jobs? A helpless chuckle escaped him. "Princess, ever consider I bought that bar after I cashed out?" Princess. The word thudded in my chest. Julian has never treated me as someone's wife, only as Serena. I hesitated, then nodded. "Jamie." The minute Jason signed for that envelope, Julian and I were perched on bar stools, sipping chilled sake. A soft flush crept up my throat while my phone buzzed like an angry hornet. Annoyance tightened in my ribs. I blacklisted Jason and tipped the cup back. "I called it the night we met," Julian said suddenly. I raised an eyebrow, inviting him on. "You two were perfect on paper, straight-A overachievers who never cut loose. Psych 101, sooner or later the leash snaps, and the thrill he chases will be bottom-shelf trouble." Prophetic. I let out a thin, sardonic laugh. The phone rang again, Mom's number. I picked up, Jason's voice barreled through. "Serena, you're divorcing me? Do you even realize what you're doing?" Rage crackled just beneath his words, stunned I'd moved first. The bar was noisy. I kept my tone flat. "Sign it. The terms are fair." "I'm not being greedy." Silence, then a clenched sentence, "Not happening." Without waiting he rushed on, "I screwed up, I know, but how can you be so heartless? Won't you even let me fix this?" I couldn't fathom how he stood there accusing me as if I were the villain. My voice came out thread thin. "Jason, stop making me sick." The line quivered, panic and fury tangled in his reply. "I make you sick? Be honest, Serena, have I ever shortchanged you?" One mistake and you erase every good year? The liquor scalded my gut. Julian read my nausea, snatched the phone, and said coolly, Ellis, refrain from verbally attacking my client. Refuse to sign and we'll see you in court. Jason exploded the second he recognized the voice. Julian, who the hell said you could touch my babe's phone? Are you the one pushing her to dump me? I inhaled, steadying the swirl in my stomach, took the handset, and murmured, we're done, Jason. End call. I didn't head home, I drove to Sterling Tech. Jason had borrowed my mother's cell, so he wouldn't be there. I was right, only Lily occupied the executive floor. Her expression flipped from delight to sneering triumph the instant she saw me. What do you want? I studied her calmly, then asked, when did you and Jason start sleeping together? No shame, just a coy giggle. Guess the date of our first round? I flinched despite myself. She savored it, eyes glittering. Valentine's Day. He cleared his whole afternoon and booked us a suite. Valentine's. He'd told me he was buried in client meetings, no window, not even dinner. Half a day carved out for his assistant. I dug a crescent into my palm to keep my voice level. What else? Any gifts? My icy tone irked her, her face twisted. Drop the holier-than-thou act, Serena. You're just a washed-up wife he's about to toss. 10 years of building the empire, together? I'm the one who gets the crown. Breath flying high on vindication, she added, Jason showered me, jewelry, cash, sure, whatever, but that's crumbs. She splayed a hand across her still flat stomach and looked down at me. I slid down my spine. I'm pregnant. The ultimate present from Jason. My gaze locked on the tiny swell under her silk blouse. The teenage boy in my memory turned to ash. Maybe I never really knew Jason at all. Lily was still smiling, as if she had finally beaten me. I walked forward slowly, then slapped her hard across the face. The crack rang out just as the office door swung open. Lily clenched her teeth, her expression shifting between fury and panic. She wanted to explode but forced herself to stay quiet, arranging her face into a pitiful, fragile look. It was almost comical. As if I hadn't heard the commotion behind me, I said coldly, enjoy the spoils? Remember this, I'm divorcing him, and I'm taking everything that's mine. Lily bit her lip, cradled her stomach, and cried towards someone behind me, Jason. But Jason walked straight past her as if she didn't exist. Babe, I'm not divorcing you, he said. I told you, you're the only one I love. Ignoring Lily's twisting expression, Jason seized my hand and pleaded, I messed up, I'll fix it. Just give me one more chance, please. Lily's voice shook with rage. Jason, I'm carrying your baby. Jason's face paled, his grip on me tightened. He stammered, babe, it was just an accident. Maybe the last 48 hours had been too chaotic, he hadn't even changed clothes. He still wore the same tailored blazer from the gala. I noticed the faint mark on his throat. Lily's Twitter post flashed through my mind. Disgust surged. I yanked my hand free and slapped him. I told you not to nauseate me, I spat, voice glacial. Jason froze, apparently stunned I'd actually hit him. Or maybe he finally saw the naked loathing in my eyes. His Adam's apple bobbed. Serena, he croaked. I didn't look back. I strode out of the office. It took him several seconds to react, then he scrambled after me. Behind us, Lily shrieked his name, hysterical. Jason kept following. Serena, I really know I was wrong. I didn't turn. I slid into the car and gave the driver an address. At the same moment I tapped save on the voice memo in my phone. All of it was evidence, including Lily's tweets. I handed every file to Julian. He double-checked, so we're filing the divorce petition? I nodded. The proof looks solid, let's go. While stacking the documents, Julian glanced up. And afterward, he asked. How will you live? The question crossed a line. I didn't answer. Julian went on, the first time I saw you, you'd fought with Jason and were drinking away the pain at a bar, then you met me. He smiled faintly, lost in the memory. I remember thinking, how can someone so beautiful be so kind? My lashes trembled as the night came back. Back then Jason had been buried in work. I hadn't seen him for 6 straight months. Jamie I erupted into our first real fight. I went to a club with my best friend to drown the anger. That's where I ran into Julian. His mom was in Riverdale, critically ill, 10 grand short for surgery. He'd just graduated, no resume, every loan exhausted, so he took a job selling champagne. First shift, first customer, me. I didn't buy his sob story. Every bottle pusher feeds you the same line. Still, I Venmo transferred him 10 grand and told him to drink with me. When Jason timed, I made sure Julian's face filled the screen. Jason stormed over and dragged me out. Our fight ended with apologies. 2 years later Julian showed up and repaid the 10 grand. Only then did I believe his story. But Jason and I were happy again, so I forgot the whole thing. Until now, with Julian standing in front of me professionally polished while I'm a wreck. So I ignored the unspoken offer. Counselor Julian, the past should stay past, I said quietly. His eyes dimmed, he murmured, understood. The day before the hearing, an unexpected bomb detonated. Lily's burner Twitter vaulted to the trending tab. Netizens ID'd her CEO as Jason. Before, only a few dozen followed the account, so her wild posts floated unseen. Now someone had purchased promo, pushing them into the spotlight. Internet sleuths stampeded Sterling Tech's homepage, roasting Jason. They dug up Lily's real handle, phone number, even headshots. Her bragging tweets, plus recent photos of Jason's jewelry gifts, earned her the nickname America's most brazen mistress. I scrolled the hateful threads with zero satisfaction. Then my phone rang. I answered and heard Lily fall apart in ragged sobs. Harassment had trailed her for days. I'd heard people even showed up at the office. But Jason's voice reached me first. Serena, did you engineer this? He asked. No, I said. Bitch, who else? Lily shrieked, sobs cracking. I snorted. When you gift ammunition this stupidly, plenty of enemies line up. Jason didn't buy it. After a pause he said, Serena, I know you hate Lily, but the baby is innocent. Stop tormenting her, please. The stress has her hovering at Riverdale's doors. By the end he sounded almost accusatory, as if I were the villain. The absurdity was almost funny. Jason, how dare you lecture me? Why should I care about your bastard? He faltered. That's not what I meant. I cut him off, ice in every word. Save the explanations, you'll be served soon. If you truly care about her and the child, set me free. Divorce me fast and you can play happy family. Jason grew urgent. Serena, I told you, you're the woman I love. I'm not letting you go. I'd had enough of his cake and eat it act. Jamie, I ended the call, exhaled, and stared at the city lights, steady and cold. The next day, the hearing went badly. Jason refused to agree to the divorce. When the first session ended, he stared at Julian with dead eyes. Then he strode over, seized my hand, gave a scornful laugh, and said in an icy voice, Babe, you leave me for him, don't you think that's beneath you? My gaze was glacial. I suddenly laughed. Jason, who could be cheaper than you? His face darkened, thin lips pressed into a blade-straight line. I yanked my hand free, looked at him, and went on, do you know what I regret most? That I said yes when you confessed all those years ago. If I could, I'd choose never to have loved you. That way I wouldn't have this shameful, filthy chapter in my life. Jason stood frozen, as if he couldn't believe what he'd heard. His face was paler, more pained than when I'd first learned of his cheating. Even his voice shook. What did you say? I said I regret it. Now, every day I spent with you, every moment we touched, makes me nauseous, literally sick to my stomach. I finished calmly, ignoring his near collapse. I turned, grabbed Julian, and strode out of the courtroom. At the doorway I heard Jason's broken roar, Serena, whether you believe it or not, you're the only woman I've ever loved. I didn't look back. A line like that only deserves to be believed once. The hearing had gone badly and my mood was foul. Julian handed me a freshly brewed coffee and said gently, when this is over, I plan to travel abroad. I glanced at him in surprise, because I'd been planning exactly the same thing. Take a trip, come home to a brand new start. Where are you thinking of going? I took the cup and couldn't help asking. Julian, the Netherlands. My lashes fluttered. I thought, what a coincidence. We didn't dwell on it, because Jason pulled a stunt I never saw coming. While the outrage online still raged, he posted from Sterling Tech's official Twitter. At Sterling Tech, regarding the recent false statements made on social media by a female employee of our company, we issue the following clarification. Hello, I'm Sterling Tech CEO Jason. There were indeed misunderstandings between my wife and me, and I was at fault. I am trying to make amends. However, most of Ms. Lynn's online claims are untrue. Ms. Lynn and I have never been romantically involved. I ask Ms. Lynn to respect herself. My wife and I fell in love when we were young. I love her, my feelings have never changed. The moment the tweet went live, public fury pivoted and crashed down on Lily. I snorted. Oh, so now he's not worried about stressing the baby? Because of that post, the quiet until then Lily showed up at court the next day, screaming for Jason to come out and explain. Say it. If we're not involved, what the hell is our child? What did you promise me every time you slept with me? You bastard, you'd better divorce her and marry me. Julian and I watched the circus with detached coldness. Jason caught the mockery in my eyes, his face contorted in pain and rage. He spun around and slapped Lily hard. Shut up. Lily froze, clutching her swelling cheek, then shrieked, You hit me. I'm carrying your baby, how dare you hit me, Jason. She lunged like a maniac, punching and kicking him. Jason's earlier claim that Lily's pregnancy was fragile seemed true. When bailiffs tried to pull her off, she suddenly clutched her stomach and crumpled. Chaos erupted. After they rushed her to Riverdale, I even saw a small pool of blood on the floor. I knew the baby probably wouldn't survive. Because of the emergency, the judge adjourned the case. Jason's face looked ashen. That night I heard the child was lost. Maybe the loss convinced Lily she no longer had a ticket to the top. She did something that left me stunned and disgusted. She uploaded an intimate clip with Jason to her Twitter and captioned it, How can you say you never loved me? The internet exploded. The fallout was so radioactive it spilled into Sterling Tech's newly listed stock. I stayed silent. I'd never touched Lily's account, precisely because I held equity in Sterling Tech. If the company bled, my own fortune hemorrhaged. I pondered for a moment, then filed a fresh suit against Jason. Thanks to Lily's spectacle, this round went smoothly. At the final moment the judge asked if the defendant wished to add anything. Jason looked at me and gave a bitter smile. Serena, can you not hate me? At least, don't hate the man I used to be. I said nothing. The gavel fell. I had won. I offloaded my shares the instant they landed in my account, liquidated every property tainted by Jason, and converted everything to cash. When it was done, I debated whether to stick with my Netherlands plan. In the end I decided to let fate decide. Fine, let it be. With hundreds of millions in my pocket, I wasn't exactly in ruins. At the airport gate for Amsterdam I ran into Julian. Carrying his suitcase one-handed, he greeted me in surprise. I'm headed to Holland too, care to share the ride? I offered. He grinned. Couldn't ask for better company. Holland is a country that breathes freedom. On the plane Julian asked, So you really have no plan for the future? I squinted, thought for a long moment, then said, I want freedom. And what is freedom? I decided it must be wind, something that can roam the earth at will. Days in Holland slipped by, yet news from home still drifted in. Sterling Tech, battered by Lily's scandal, saw its market cap crater. Investors fled in herds, rivals pounced, the company staggered. Jason rushed around desperately, but the corpse couldn't be revived. He finally declared bankruptcy. Lily, meanwhile, latched onto a new sugar daddy. Unfortunately for her, the man's babe wasn't some pushover. She rounded up friends and beat Lily black and blue. Internet sleuths recognized Lily as the once infamous boldest mistress, filmed the spectacle, and uploaded it for laughs. None of it concerned me anymore. Yet even while circling the globe one still needs occasional entertainment. Back when I'd told Julian I meant to wander the world, he'd gone quiet for a long time. I hadn't expected anything. I'd always planned to go solo. But the next year, in Australia, I met Julian again. Dressed simply, gold-rimmed glasses catching the sun, he smiled and asked, I've settled every tie back home, now can I be the wind that travels with you? I stared a long while, then answered, voice rough, yes. The banner flaps in the breeze, yet it is not the banner that moves. It is the heart. Thanks for listening to today's story. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it? If you liked this video, please like and share it with friends. We look forward to your thoughts in the comment thread. And don't forget to subscribe for more gripping tales. See you next time.